Alrighty, so I did one of these videos on the United States of America a couple of days ago, and you lot seem to really enjoy it, so I thought I'd do Russia for episode 2 of the Future of Formula 1 in Global Superpowers series. Whilst Russia was one of the first countries to ever host a Grand Prix all the way back before World War I, Formula 1 is only just starting to reacclimatise in Russia once more. With the announcements of the Russian Grand Prix moving from Sochi to Igora Drive, thank goodness, and with the potential for a Russian team in Formula 1, as well as many drivers that are coming through the ranks, it means that the country could be stamping its influence on Formula 1 for a few years to come. So, let's set out to discover what the future holds for Russia in Formula 1. We'll divide this video, like we did with the United States one, into a couple of sections, again focusing on circuits before delving into teams and drivers. Since 2014, the Russian Grand Prix has been held at the Sochi Autodrome, and whilst the first 14 seconds of the Russian Grand Prix are normally exciting, the rest of it is often processional and a bit of a snooze fest, and it's always seemingly won by Mercedes. The circuit itself is quite horrible, with plenty of medium speed corners, no real flow, and the most annoying uphill apex on the fourth last corner that you can know to mankind. The only two good things about the track are turn 3, which literally goes on forever, and the fact it's in the Olympic Park of the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics, meaning it's the first city to hold both the Olympic Games and a Grand Prix, which is only mentioned about 145 times every Russian Grand Prix, because Crofty has decided that bird watching on the Black Sea is probably more exciting than the actual Grand Prix itself. Sochi looks a lovely place in terms of scenery, and if they'd built an actual good track here, then it might have been a success. Thankfully, from 2023 we'll no longer be at Sochi, Valtteri Bottas crying right now being the king of Sochi, and we'll be moving to Igora Drive, which actually looks like quite a fun circuit with elevation changes galore. If you think the hill up to Turn 1 at Austin is steep, or that Portimao has a lot of elevation changes, then there's another thing coming with this circuit, I promise you. I'm actually quite open to trying it out, and surely it'll bring better racing than Sochi, even if they are changing some of the circuit before Formula 1 arrives. I'm sure we've all used the 2017 Russian Grand Prix as a lullaby at some stage, and so this new track will surely be better and quite a lot of fun for us to watch. Now there is one more circuit for us to talk about in Russia, and it's called the Moscow Raceway. Now, I'm not sure this circuit is talked about enough, and it's kind of a complex issue. The circuit was designed in 2008 to bring Formula 1 to Russia, and was opened and graded by the FIA in 2011. Now, Formula 1 must of course race on FIA Grade 1 circuits only, and having spent 300 million on this circuit, you'd hope that they would have done well. But when it was graded, the FIA gave it a Grade 2 licence. It then hosted some Formula Renault 3.5 races, which is basically a slightly less good version of GP2 back in the day, but of course this wasn't the ultimate goal for the circuit. Whilst the circuit now has a Grade 1 licence following some circuit amendments, the fact Formula 1 is moving around Russia but not to Moscow could potentially leave the circuit in disarray. And finally, Formula E raced around Moscow once, and to be fair, a street race there could be quite cool, even though it's not like we haven't already got enough street circuits in Formula 1. Add to that the fact that Formula E cars can't really get over 23 miles an hour, or make any more noise than MySky Electric's cars, and then you'll see why street racing is actually far easier for Formula E than Formula 1. Overall, I do hope that Igora Drive is a success though, and there's a bright future at the circuit, and who knows, hopefully it might produce some exciting racing. Just before we get to the next part of the video, if you are enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe, as I'd love to do this full time one day. Right, onto teams and drivers. So, before you all come at me in the comments section about teams and drivers, I'll address the elephant in the room. Uralkali Haas F1 team. America's Formula 1 team that's actually Russian. I think with Haas driving around at the back this season, we'll only be able to judge how good they are next season in 2022, as they say they're focusing everything on that. But if that doesn't work out, I'm almost certain that Gene Haas will pull out of the team, allowing Dmitry Mazepin to take over, and then we will almost certainly have a fully Russian team. Haas's 2021 livery is actually quite amusing because the colours are supposed to represent the USA colours, despite being in the absolute most perfect pattern of the Russian flag. And Uralkali have even changed their sponsor colour from red, white and green to red, white and blue to accommodate for this livery in kind of the Russian flag style way. I do think in 2023 we will be lining up with a full Russian team on the grid though. Now, if we have a look at some of the drivers, again, it's probably best to address the elephant in the room immediately. Nikita Mazepin. We're only going to talk about his on-track actions here, so whilst his off-track stuff remains abhorrent and disgraceful, since about round 4 in Formula 1. He's actually not done too badly compared to his highly rated teammate Mick Schumacher. Is he a future world champion like Mr. Williams' story thinks so? No, but he's kind of here to make up the numbers, and to be fair, he did make a good overtake on Mick around Silverstone to win the battle for who's going to finish second last between the two Haas cars, so fair enough, and overall, his pace has improved since he was spinning like a spinning top. Danny Kvyat is the obvious other choice, who's currently Alpine's reserve driver, and whilst he was unceremoniously booted out of Red Bull by Helmut Marko, he performed well for AlphaTauri and was cruelly denied a podium at Imola in 2020. He's of course eyeing up a seat for 2022, like almost every other driver who was booted out at the end of 2019 or 2020, and whilst the Turn 3 grandstand at Sochi remains named after him, hopefully he'll be back on the grid soon. A final contender should be Artem Markelov, but after coming second in GP2, he kind of just disappeared, and instead I'll briefly touch on Robert Schwartzman. Despite spinning right in front of me at Silverstone in F2 qualifying to bring out the red flag on Friday,
red flag, that's a red flag. That's everyone's quality lap. That's everyone ruined. There's only what, like a minute and a bit to go. He's definitely stole that. A green flagged it though.
he's a promising talent and part of the Ferrari Driver Academy who could easily line up alongside Mazepin for Haas in 2022 or 2023 if Mick Schumacher decides to move on. Imagine a fully Russian team. I mean, it might promote the sport further in the biggest country in the world, but that's a scary prospect. Overall, I do think the future of Formula 1 is quite bright in Russia, and with the prospect of a fully Russian team, however controversial this may be, and some good junior drivers, and of course a new circuit to provide better racing and attract more fans, I think it's imperative that Formula 1 keeps a stronghold in the biggest country in the world, and so I think Russia will be very important in the years to come. If there is a future Russian world champion, it might be interesting to see them announce themselves on the junior stage at some point, and who knows, then Formula 1 will be really cemented into the largest country in the world. Now, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and let me know what you think the future holds for Russia in the comments section below, and if you like the look of the new Igora Drive circuit, subscribe if you are new around here and you want to see Formula 1 content every week, and I will catch you in the next one. Later guys.